What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be doing something that's pretty cool. We're going to be putting a big brake upgrade on the S10. It's a low budget upgrade. Definitely not what a set of bare brakes costs. This is something you can do with junkyard parts. Save yourself a bunch of money and get some decent sized brakes. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and let's get to it. So if you look at the table behind me, you will see all the parts that are going to be going on the truck. 2000 Camaro brake calipers, which I sourced off eBay, used. The abutment brackets, the pads, carbon ceramic brake pads, the brand new brake rotors, which are cross-drilled and slotted, brake hoses, bolt hardware, and then, believe it or not, these are actually S-10 brake rotors that were machined down to turn them into these hubs. These are the S-10 drop spindles, which have been modified to fit this brake setup. This is the adapter bracket. There's supposed to be 2 of them. Clayton's on his way with the second one right now. This is what you need to do the whole conversion. Before we start putting the brake conversion on, we're going to go to Clayton's work. We're going to see how he modified those rotors to turn them into those hubs, and also how he made those brackets. And then we're going to come back here and I'm going to show you how to put the wheel studs in and how to modify the spindle to fit that bracket and to fit all this stuff on. Sit tight and enjoy watching Clayton's work, and then we'll be putting the brakes on.
So the first thing I want to check here is the runout on the bearing diameter, because I'm locating off an unknown diameter here on the back. Using a little bit of shim stock on one jaw, I've got looks like about 2.5 thou total indicator runout, so that'll be fine for this. I also want to check the runout on the x-axis. This is the surface that is going to go inside the new rotor, so I want this to be a minimal runout. And that looks pretty damn good for what we're doing here. So we'll pick a work offset up here and make some chips. Start cutting here. I'm being fairly light with my cuts and everything. This is a no rush here. That's 35 thousandths cut, so 70 thousandths on diameter. Sorry about the reflection in the glass. Nice thing about cast iron is you don't need coolant while you're cutting it. 6.14 is the diameter it's cutting right now, so we'll just make sure that we're right. Try and do this one-handed, and we're 5/10 under. I'm just going to grab the 12-inch calipers here and double check. Look at that, right on the money. So everything measures good here. I'm going to give that diameter 5 thousandths clearance from the hub to the new rotor, and that'll be it. The turning part will be done. I'm also going to turn that face just so that's got a nice, clean, true face to locate on. Should be done. It's 5.905, so that's 5 thousandths clearance. It should be a nice fit. We're done turning that diameter now. If you guys remember last time I mentioned that the nice thing about this lathe is it's actually a mill as well. The last thing we got to do is open up the stud holes to 12.5 millimeter. That's the turning tool. Call up our milling tool. In this case, it's going to be a 1/4 inch end mill. And just bring it in easy here. It's just kissing these holes. That saves me another mill setup to open those up. And that should be her. Ta-da! So here we are back on the wire EDM. These are caliper brackets that I got to make for Rob. We don't have a hole popper, so I needed to pre-drill the holes for the wire. So I'm ready to go here, and that's basically the pattern we're going to cut out. Doing the last operation on these rollers, basically what I'm doing is removing the rotor. So there's just it's going to be the hub left. We're using our VX 1000 Matsura. It's a 3-axis mill. We're just going to mill this down until we break through on the bottom side here, and that'll be it. So we milled down a 1/4 inch of material, broke it through all around here. I had a disc clamp just to keep the rotor so this would pull into the cutter. We're going to remove this now, and then I'm going to take down this lip here down to this face. Rotor out of the way now. All right. Again, nothing too exciting, but nice when it's done. Give one more pass. So we got that all finished up, and that's going to go into the Camaro rotor, such as that, just like that. So now we're just waiting on Rob to get his calipers. So I'm going to make some caliper brackets, and that'll be that. Alright, so here's the next morning. It's all cut out. Got a little rusty sitting in the water last night, but that's okay. We're going to sandblast it. Also need to mill down the thickness. Right now it's 3/8. I believe the finished dimension is going to be somewhere around 5/16. So yeah, looks pretty good.
So that's awesome. Clayton did all that machining. Everything turned out really, really nice. There's the hubs that he machined. I already painted them with some high temp paint I got the wheel studs, so we've got to press those in still, which we're going to do right away. And then also like grease up the bearings and put the bearings and stuff back in. Here's my calipers. I already put this one in the sandblaster. I gave her a sandblasting along with these abutments, they call them, these brackets. Also went today and got brand new bolts for all the bolts. It came with the ones that bolt that bracket onto the other bracket. I just ended up buying new ones anyways. What I'm going to do now is put this caliper in the sandblaster and just clean it up a bit. That doesn't need to be done for the test fit, but it needs to be done, so I'm just going to do it quickly. And then we got to cut the spindles. I got them on here. This is the bracket, adapter bracket that Clayton made. It still needs a little bit of machining. He's got to clean it up a little bit, but we wanted to test fit it, see if we have to do anything to it. So that's going to be in the test fit tonight. We're going to check that bracket out, see how that is. But I got to cut the spindle off, and I'll show you how that, I'm going to do that and all that kind of stuff right away. But first, let's throw that in the sandblaster, give it a quick sandblast. We'll get onto those spindles and the hubs and get them ready, and then we'll be ready to test fit this stuff. I'm over here at the sandblaster, and I'm going to sandblast the caliper. Always make sure wear some kind of respirator, because these things are pretty nasty, and you know, even though they're supposed to be kind of sealed up, they're usually not. Plus, on mine, I got the gloves kind of ripped out, so it's kind of crappy, but it still works. There's the caliper in there. I'll sandblast a little bit of it and show you what the difference is. Can't really see too well. I'll pull it out. There's kind of a before, after. I mean, this is aluminum, so it takes it off really easy. You're not really, you know, taking rust off. You're just cleaning all the paint and oxidation off of it. And this is how my face gets really dirty, is doing this kind of stuff. So I'm going to finish sandblasting that, and I'll show you when it's done. So I got that other caliper all sandblasted up. I also sandblasted one of the two brake hose brackets. Now there's both calipers. They turn out really good, nice and clean, ready for paint. And then I only did the one, so you can really see the difference compared to the before shot. Pretty crusty, pretty rusty. And that one was pretty much the same, so sandblasting it definitely works good. I mean, I'm sure most of you guys know how a sandblaster works, but I just thought I'd show you guys the difference if you don't know, that is. I'm also going to have to do something here because this is a big circle, and this is smaller and a little bit different design. So I'm going to have to either weld something over here and drill a new hole a little bit smaller, or I don't know, I'll have to see. Or else get different brackets off a different kind of car from the junkyard. I got the spindle here, and I got the bracket that Clayton made up on here. I have to cut off this much of the ears, but I also have to cut enough so that these bolt holes here will be able to fit in from the back, because that abutment bracket, I think, lays on top of here. Now, let me grab one of them. This bracket, I believe, fits on there like that, bolts on, and then you put your caliper onto this bracket. So in order to be able to get at that, you have to actually get at these holes too. So I marked it there, and then you can see I marked where the hole is got to be. So pretty much I got to go pretty close to this, just around there, and then kind of the same there. I think I kind of marked it out before, just here and then in. So I'm going to cut it as close as I can with a cutoff wheel, and then I'll get in there with a flap wheel and I'll smooth it out. Alright, so here we go. Make sure I put the safety gear on. Lately, I seem to be cutting myself on the stupid grinder for some reason. Getting a little too close to the wheel, so now I start wearing gloves, which is probably smart. There's one piece. Feels weird cutting these aftermarket drop spindles up like this. for a good cause. And now this one, it looks like it has to go pretty close to the... And there's the other side. Now when this bracket goes on here, it clears. Like I said, I'll take the flop wheel, clean it up a little because I think it needs a little more for the bolts to fit. I'll get in there with the flop wheel and clean that up. You pretty much just have to clean it up until the bolts fit. So that one almost fits, needs a tiny bit more. And this one could use a bit more. Kind of mark it where it needs a little extra meat taken off. Mark this one too. Take a little extra off of there also. Perfect. So that's pretty much all you got to do there. Clean it up like that, and now it's ready to bolt on that bracket. So I'm not going to bore you with the second one. I'll get her done. Something else, the abutments here, they call them. They have that little bump right there. As you can see, it might interfere with the bolt. So it's good to smooth that off too. So I did that there on both. Now the next thing to do will be to put the wheel studs in the hubs, grease the bearings and stuff and put the bearings in, and then put the hubs on and the rotors and test fit everything. So now these are the hubs, which Clayton masterfully machined up. And these are the longer wheel studs. Basically they're the same as the stock ones, just longer. Pound them in. I do have a press. I could press them in. If you have a press,
And you could draw them in with a nut.
by all means press them in. You could also draw them in with the nut from this side. But this works pretty good. I mean, honestly, if this works, it's better than, it's going to be a lot faster than a press or nuts or whatever.
Are you left-handed?
Yes, I'm left-handed. So there you go.
Just recently?
Yeah, I just turned left-handed the other day. I used to be righty, but now I'm left. Here's the other side. Pretty much the same as the first one. Simple as that. Next, on to greasing up the bearings and putting the bearings in. Once the bearings were greased up and put back in the hubs, then pretty much everything's ready to go for this brake setup to put it on. So now I'm just taking some time to clean and paint everything. These rotors are brand new, so I masked off the surface. I'm just gonna paint this part and the edge here. The pads don't touch there and they'll get rusty if they're sitting. So here's one that's already done. Just, you know, a couple quick coats of some high temp paint. That'll just keep them looking nicer for a little while. Then of course I'm also painting the brake calipers and the spindles and all that other stuff. I also did a quick test fit, dry test fit of everything, which you could do just to make sure everything lines up and everything's right. I didn't bother to record it because you're gonna see everything when I put the whole brake setup on the truck. And we're gonna go do that now. All right, so the first thing we need to do is grab our spindle. Get it in there. And we got our bolts. And this is all straightforward. Brake modification will work with stock spindles too. These are a drop spindle, but that doesn't really matter. There we go. Always make sure you put your cotter pins in. You don't want the bolts to fall out, the nuts to fall off, I should say. Alright. Oh, that's that part. Alright, the next part to go on is this adapter bracket. A little bit of Loctite on the bolts. Want these to back out. That's as simple as that. Next up, we put the hub on, which has already been greased. All in all, this is pretty simple. I mean, putting them together is pretty straightforward. It's pretty much like the same as putting them on a 2000 Camaro or any newer car. With this, you just make it snug and then back it off a tiny bit so that you don't want them too tight. So that if they're too tight, the bearings, it'll wear the bearings out. See, now that feels a little too tight to me. I'll have to go back one. And there's the hub. I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize all along here. Because it is a pretty tight fit. I mean, really, if I ever had to change the rotors, which I probably never will, not for a long time, but if I had to, you know, and they were stuck on this hub, the hub comes off and you could press it out or beat it out with a hammer or whatever. But it doesn't hurt to put a little bit of that on there. These rotors are left and right. The left front, obviously. Like that. Uh-oh, look out. Someone's here. Oh shit, slide on. But they don't. They should. Well, I guess whoever machined them, they machined them good. Quality control is here.
Yeah.
Clayton. Quality control. Alright, so now here's this part. Ooh. Same thing, a little bit of Loctite on here. And these just go over here.
Usually, is that like high temp paint, right?
Ceramic, yeah. Like header paint, like caliper paint. Okay, so once you have them on, you want to make sure that the spacing between this side and this side are pretty close to the same. And if they're not, you can always shim these brackets, put a couple washers in there, but Clayton, you know, masterfully machined these so they're perfect.
We just got lucky.
Yeah, we got lucky, so there it is. Alright, so now you got your pads, you got these clips. Go in there.
You got any anti-squealer juice?
Yeah. And then like that. The clips came with the calipers. You can also buy new ones. These ones are in really good condition. I just cleaned them up. There's the pads on. Now, the fancy part. Here comes the caliper. Slips in there. The only thing that still has to be put on is the brake hose. And so, on my particular truck, if you were doing this on a G-body or F-body, I don't know, but there's these brackets here that hold the brake hose on, and they have a big circle hole because that's the way the brake hoses on the S-10 are, but the brake hoses on the Camaro are a little bit different. The hole is smaller, so we're going to head to the wrecker in a bit, and I'm hoping to cut this off and then weld on the piece from the one that would fit that better so that the hose fits in there properly. So I'm not going to put the hoses on right now, but pretty much that's it. The other side's the same as this side, just the opposite. And there you go. It's your cheap brake upgrade for an S10. I'll give you a quick breakdown on what the brakes cost. So the rotors and pads I bought off eBay Canada, of course, but I'm pretty sure the company sells in the US also, and it was like $87 for the rotors and the pads, Canadian, shipped to my house. So whatever that is in American. The calipers I bought from that place in Alabama or Georgia or whatever, and they were $50, and then I paid another like $50 to get them shipped here, so it was a little over $100 for the calipers and those abutment brackets. But it also came with the brake hoses and all the clips and everything. And then other than that, you saw what I did there. That's free. And as far as the rotor modifications, I mean, I didn't pay anything for it, but you could cut the rotor hat part off yourself, like the surface, and then to machine down the part where that's going to go into the rotor. You could take that to a brake shop. I mean, you could probably do it with a flap wheel. It'd take you a while. That's your whole brake job. A little over $200 Canadian. So in America, that would only cost you like 150 bucks. That's pretty cheap for a 12-inch brake upgrade with cross-drilled rotors and slotted rotors and all that kind of stuff. Definitely going to stop better, and it definitely looks a lot better. That's the brake job in a nutshell. There's the one side. Here's the other side done with the wheel on, so you can sort of see how it fits in there. I think it looks pretty good. All I have to do, like I said before, is the brake hoses still. I got to get those brackets, which we're going to go get now from the junkyard. Yeah, that's about it. So until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll check you later.
Me now? I can't tell which way you're pointing the camera. See you later. Check you later.